Nigeria as a whole is now free and independent.
We also give continued active support to the Organization of African Unity, the United Nations Organization, and the Commonwealth.
I would like to remind this audience that in this hall today we have a concentration of the leading agitators, mischief makers that the world has ever known. We have them here. Is that all these agitators and mischief makers desire a better world for human beings to live in.
Abia Nation Nigeria is today the focus of the entire international community.
For today.
Yeah, another beautiful afternoon here. Happy new month to you, and of course, I welcoming you to the very first episode of the Politics of Melody right here on Melody 100.7 FM in the city of IB. Of course, it's good to be here this beautiful day. Thank you very much for joining in. Of course, if it's good to be with you, this is the first time we're seeing in the new month, right? So happy new month to you. I'm happy to be here again this beautiful day. On behalf of Daniel Adeyemi, M. Black Marcus, Moses, no, rather Samson, of course, Uyewale Amos. I say welcome to another time on the radio, Politics of Melody 100.7 FM. As you always do, as we always do every time on the show, we take you to another level in terms of politics, and we speak politically. Every time you hear us on this program, it's all about politics and nothing more is politically speaking. So welcome and let's have a ride.
This region has been self-governing for more than 3 years. Nigeria as a whole is now free and independent.
We also give continued active support to the Organization of African Unity, the United Nations Organization, and the Commonwealth.
I would like to remind this audience that in this hall today we have a concentration of the leading agitators, mischief makers that the world has ever known. We have them here. Is that all these agitators and mischief makers desire a better world for human beings to live in.
Abia Nation Nigeria is today the focus of the entire international community.
So today on the program, we'll be focusing on the brouhaha that has trailed the renaming of Ibadan Polytechnics. If Daniel was one of them, I would have asked him, but Daniel is one, I'm not alumnus. I am not as well. I would have asked him questions. Because he's been unrest in Ibadan, but it's not been a troublesome one. Yeah, we call it peaceful protest because the students have hit the roads, they've hit the street, and they've hit the government house as well. Secretariat was all over with the students yesterday when they hit the roads, and they claimed that the governor must reverse the decision to rename the school after former governor of the state. We'll be speaking with major stakeholders on the show, and our plan to get the SUG president live on the radio this afternoon. Somehow, because you know they are still moving up and down, because they promised that they will not stop until the entire thing is resolved. So he won't be able to get here this afternoon, as well as other stakeholders. But you know, trust me now, when we do it the way it's supposed to be done. You will hear the voices still of the stakeholders here. Now, yesterday, a major development occurred in our political system as the coalition, hoping to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027, decided to adopt a political party. But less than 24 hours after the adoption of a political party, you know what happened? Another drama ensued. Because trouble has started brewing already in the new political party they've adopted, talking about the ADC. As a faction of the party is saying, we are not part of such coalition, They did not tell us when they did this coalition and adopted our party, so we will not accept them. In fact, they said Rahul Baregbeshola can never be their own secretary, national secretary of the party. So what is the update? You get to know on the show this afternoon. Also, I'll be having an analyst who will be speaking with me directly all the way via the phone line. We'll be discussing, because there is a breaking news coming in from Plateau State, where they've elected a new Speaker of the House. Trouble everywhere. Politically, Nigeria is on a hot seat. As I was coming into the studio, I was told that a new speaker has just been elected into the Plateau State House of Assembly. What could have happened? I'll be speaking live and direct, hopefully, from Jos with Samson Omale, who is live there at the House of Assembly in Jos to tell me what's going on right there. You get to hear that and much more from Samson Omale. Now, for the opt-in time, Senator Ali Ndume has continued to talk about the President Ahmed Tinubu's administration. What is he saying today? Hopefully, we should be able to have him on the show. Another swell time awaits you on the show today. You know how we do it every time. So all you need to do is leave your dial locked, don't move a muscle, because we are ready to blow you once again. But let's begin with the latest political update at this time. The latest political stories. Now, let's tell you that Chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, says the Commission is working on supplementary regulations and guidelines to provide clarity in the review of declaration and return at the elections ahead of the 2027 general election. Professor Mahmood Yakubu made the disclosure at a regular consultative meeting of resident electoral commissioners, REX, yesterday in Abuja. He said that the commission was moving on with everything and doing everything possible, as well as doing this in pursuant to the commission's power to issue operations guidelines, regulations, and of course manuals to give effect to the provisions of Electoral Act. Professor Yakubu said that the commission was working on a supplement to the regulations and the guidelines for the conduct of elections 2022 to provide clarity on the review of declaration and return at elections. This, he said, was in line with NEC's powers to issue regulations, guidelines, and manuals to give effect to the provisions of the Electoral Act and its administration, according to Mahmood Yakubu, giving us insight into this one. The INEC chairman called on REX to provide the commission with information on their plan to enhance voter access to polling units by decongesting some of them or in other areas. Former President of the Senate, David Mark, has officially announced his resignation from the People's Democratic Party. The former senator, who represented Benue South Senatorial District from 1999 to 2019 in the Senate, played a key role in shaping the PDP since its inception. The development follows his recent appointment as one of the interim leaders of the coalition-backed African Democratic Congress (ADC) as a move that signals a shift in Nigeria's evolving political landscape. This announcement comes hours after Mark and former Osun State Governor Rahul Baregbeshola emerged as the interim chairman and secretary, respectively, of the African Democratic Congress (ADC), a coalition party adopted to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the 2027 presidential election. Mark, who is the longest-serving Nigeria Senate president, blamed his decision to leave the PDP on the recent development, especially the leadership tussle within the party. In his resignation letter, which he addressed to the PDP leadership in Otukpo Ward 1, Benue State, Mark cited the party's deep-seated leadership crisis and irreconcilable differences as the reasons behind his departure. Wow. Nigerian politics. Some people will tell you, if a man like David Mark could leave PDP, then it is finished, as Jesus said on the cross. Now, a major faction within the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has kicked against the move by an opposition coalition to adopt the party as its presidential candidate. In a statement issued by Musa Issa Matara, the faction's national publicity secretary, the group warned that the ADC is not a private coalition platform to be hijacked by political elites. The faction expressed outrage over what it described as a unilateral decision made without input from critical stakeholders. Matara said the decision to merge with the opposition coalition was made without consulting key party structures, including state executive, youth and women leaders, as well as ward coordinators. In the meantime, the planned unveiling of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, as a unified platform for Nigeria's opposition hit a major snag earlier this morning after the event center where they had scheduled to hold the event abruptly cancelled a fully paid reservation just hours before the program was set to begin. The event was scheduled to take place at the Wells Carlton Hotel, an apartment in Asokoro, Abuja, and it was expected to finally introduce the ADC as the coalition-adopted party to challenge the ruling APC in the 2027 general election. But what happened eventually was that he just came to tell them, look, sir, ma, you can't have your meeting here again, even though it's been fully paid for. Politics and power. Anyway, I can confirm to you directly now that the event has shifted and is now holding at the Musa Yar'Adua Cultural Center. Yeah, I can confirm that to you. It's now holding at the Musa Yar'Adua Cultural Center. Our correspondent is there, is giving us in swingers on what is happening there. He said big wigs just arrived at the venue, and of course they are setting things together to make sure they go ahead with it. But this is what he sent in earlier before I came into the studio. Let's quickly listen to this one so you know what I'm talking about. All right? So that's what is happening live right there at the cultural. I just brought you what is happening live at the Musa Yar'Adua Center in Abuja. So don't, when we say politics or melody, what we do here, you can't test it. That is it. The event is happening live as I'm speaking with you right now. So that's it. I just had to bring you that for you to know that we are there live and representing. Before we finish the show, I could put my man on the microphone via the telephone so you get to hear what is happening right there. In the meantime, let's come to Ibadan now and let's get into it. Let's get into it right now and let's come to Ibadan. Something that Governor Seyi Makinde thought was a good gesture when he renamed the Poly Ibadan has now turned to be something that is causing ripples and is causing ripples and is causing ripples everywhere. As the polytechnic stakeholders are saying no. The only polytechnics they know that has the definite article there is the Polytechnics Ibadan. Other polytechnics has the polytechnics, these polytechnics of this, but when you hear the Polytechnics Ibadan, once you hear the Polytechnics, you know it's Ibadan that comes next. That has an identity. Why would the governor just wake up one day at a venue of a burial of Dr. Victor Omololu Olunloyo, former governor of the state, who happens to be an alumnus of the Polytechnics and also a former rector? So that was what the governor thought, and he decided to rename the school Victor Omololu Olunloyo Polytechnics. But the student stakeholders said, no, it will not happen. We do not want that name change. We love the identity, and we don't want the identity to change. So after that, they've hit the street, and everything has not been the same since this week when they said they were going to make their threats, and they actually made good of their threat. But this actually was how the whole thing started.
For today, we're also doing another honor. As the first rector of Polytechnic Ibadan, that institution will now be named Omololu Olunloyo Polytechnic Ibadan.
The governor thought he was doing something that everyone would love so much and everyone would appreciate, but the students said, mba, it will not happen, and that is why the students said, no, sir, it will not happen. You know, it was on that day, the evening of the burial, they started issuing notices. I saw the notice where they started issuing notices. It was first from the former students of the Polytechnics that started saying, no, this will not happen. We'll reject it. So we thought they were just making a joke online until we started seeing different things happening. And one of the things that happened was police students going gaga yesterday all around Ibadan. It was all through, and of course they held a protest which they used to tell the government, no, we are not in tune with this one.
Polytechnic with the Ajikuji. As it stands now, it is not the only polytechnic. This is a movement that other people have followed. The origin of a lot of heritage. We want it to stay. We want it to hold. We are here to plead with the governor. We want the governor to attend. We want the Polytechnic Ibadan to remain as the Polytechnic Ibadan.
Happy birthday, Nigeria students!
You heard it right there. The only polytechnics in the entire nation that has the articles. When you hear the polytechnics, you know what comes next is Ibadan. No other polytechnics is carrying such identity, and that is why they are saying they don't want to lose such an identity. They want it to remain the Polytechnics Ibadan. But one good thing is the governor is not around. As we speak right now, the governor is not in town. So he wasn't in town yesterday as well when the governor went to the government house. But one thing is the deputy governor was there and he attended to the student, and this is what he told them.
I heard what you are demanding for, and as you know, the governor is not around. That has been confirmed to you. Your agitation will be taken and placed before the governor for your state.
You heard the deputy governor assuring them there that something will be done. So in terms of something will be done, will it be that the name will be reversed? Because when you say something must be done and something will be done, what the students want is to reverse to the old name. Nothing like Victor Omololu Olunloyo. When the governor returns, just as the deputy governor assured, will they reverse to the old name? We do not know yet. But the rector of the school, Dr. Taiwo Abidin, is saying the whole thing took him unawares that the students didn't even tell him they were going to have such. You know, the man has to defend his job because, they will ask him questions. How come this one was about to happen? You didn't let us know and you made it, you went ahead and let it happen. The man is trying to exonerate himself, and this is what he said.
Around 2 a.m., the chief security officer of this institution called me on phone to inform me of the pending protest. And I needed to swing into action. I called the dean of students. We all came out, in order to step me down. We were not informed. Nobody told us. Even before now, that they had been trying to do so. I was with the council chairman. I took them to the council chairman about 4 or 5 days ago, and we spoke to them. We appealed to them that the issue will be resolved, but we also let them know that they have precedents, from various places. The council chairman and, of course, the Honorable Commissioner was also informed. But this morning, I was surprised that these boys, in spite of the effort being made by all of us, the management, the council chairman, the Commissioner for Education, I was surprised that they came out early this morning. But I want to tell you that everything is under control. The situation is under control. The management is on ground to see that there are no casualties.
That is what the rector is saying, and the rector even said something to the student that they should hear that it's not something new that some institutions have been renamed in the past and heaven didn't fall. What is the sign of that statement?
What has happened is not a big deal. It's not anything that anybody will start crying foul of. The former University of Ife was renamed after Obafemi Awolowo. So what has happened is not a big deal. It's not anything that anybody will start crying foul of.
Okay, you heard it right there. It's not a big deal. Will the student listen to this one? Or will they continue? Because the students have said they will continue until what they want is achieved. And the only thing they want is a reversal of that decision. They don't want any other thing. Just reverse it. Reverse it is what we want. Politics on Melody 100.7 FM right here in the city of IB. My name is Pretty. You call me the finest. Let's have a breather so I can connect with my man at the other side. When we return, we'll definitely be talking. Yes, we'll be talking about politics from here, from there, from everywhere. What is happening in Jos, where a new speaker has just been elected. What is happening in the ADC, where they are speaking from both sides of the mouth, dissenting voices here and there. What's going on? What's going on? That's what it means in Patois language in Jamaica. What's going on? This is Raski Mono. What's going on?
International accent coming on now. Hey, what a man in this country. What a man in this nation. Please say that one more time. What a man in this country. I mean, I know. Tawalale, tawalale, lalele, tawalale, tawalale, lalele. What a figana, mana woman can get no food to eat. What a figana, all the people of them are running for murder. What a figana, all the masses of them are running for cover. What a figana, all the children them are halal for hunger. It's a country. Lord of mercy. It's a God in this nation. One more time, please. What's a God in this country? I mean, I know. What's a God in this nation? Tawalale, tawalale, lalele, tawalale, tawalale, lalele. What a figana, no salvation. in this nation, no for killing in this country, no place to sleep and no work to do, no money to spend and no food to eat. What's a one in this country? What's a one in this nation? Lord have mercy. What's a one in this country? I mean, I know. What's a one in this nation? Sawalale, 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 what a fig one, what a fig one. Illegal detention without no trial. What a fig one, what a fig one. The youth them are running after Monday material. What a fig one, what a fig one. Student and a teacher in a sexual attraction. What a fig one, what a fig one. No drug addict in a this free nation. What a one in this country. Hey, hey! What a one in this nation. Answer one more time. What a one in this country. I mean, I know. What a one in this nation.
Yeah, what's going on in our nation? So many things are going. Yes, we don't even know what's going. The question everyone keeps asking is what's going from the north to the east to the west to the south. There seems to be confusion everywhere, insecurity everywhere. But with all of that, politicians seem not to be deterred. They seem not to be bothered about the insecurity and killings. What they are bothered about is politicking everywhere. God have mercy. Yes, all the way from J-Town. I'm Samson O'Malley, live. Samson, are you there? Good afternoon, good evening, my brother.
Good evening and welcome. I hope that Ibadan is doing well. There's heavy rains right here in Jos, J-Town, as you rightly said.
Heavy rain at this time. Wow. that your city that is always cold like ice. Okay, let's talk. It's cold, but it's cold concerning the weather, but it's hot concerning politics. I mean, I was coming in here, and of course, the news came through that a new speaker has emerged. I mean, what's going on in Jos? Let us know what is happening. New speaker, how? What's the problem?
Okay, so we started off the day with an unexpected announcement that was maybe a long time coming. The special advisor to the governor on political affairs. His name is Chief Lateb Dabang, turned in his resignation and resigned from his position as political advisor. He used to be the APC state chairman leading up to the 2023 general elections, and then he got frustrated and went out of the APC, aligned with the PDP, who were in opposition then, and they often call him the masquerade, and then eventually became the director general of the campaign for Mutfwang and Atiku in Plateau State, who midwife the coming in of the governor. So suddenly after that, that dust was not even yet. He had barely settled when we started getting information that some tsunami is about to happen at the Plateau State House of Assembly. And so in the last 1 hour, we saw the former speaker who represents Pangshin North constituency in the State House of Assembly, Gabriel Dewan, the Right Honorable Gabriel Dewan, literally turning in his resignation. And then, of course, we now have Nanlog Daniel coming up as the new speaker of the Plateau State House, representing Mikan local government area, Mikan constituency. So
actually, the speaker resigned by himself, not that there was issue or he was impeached or something.
Well, I think this would have been one of the smoothest so far, but again, it was a long time coming. Now, let me break it down for you a bit.
Okay.
Now, the House has a total members of 24. Now, after the debacle involving the Court of Appeal judgment that sacked virtually all the PDP members because of their structure issue argued in the Court of Appeal, all the PDP members lost their seats, and that gave but to the APC members, or midway rather, for the APC members to come into the House. So as it is right now, you have 22 members of the APC, one member representing the YPP, and then one person representing the Labour Party. And as it is right now, all the speaker before now, Gabriel Dewan, in the last 2 years, contested and won election and still remain a member of the YPP, the Young Progressive People's Party, as it is. So, and again, by the zoning formula of the state, I mean, he's coming from the same zone that you have the governor coming from. So it also altered all those arrangements. So what you now have is a situation where, I mean, a lot of people were like, no, I mean, you can't have everything going to one zone, literally, or two zones, and then one zone is left out completely. So that's what motivated him, saying, hey, look, and I am sure that he's been under a lot of pressure, because being in the YPP, the minority, super minority, as a matter of fact, and then leading the House, we saw that it was not going to last so long. Definitely, that position will not be able to be sustained. So that's exactly what happened.
So even if he didn't do it today, it would have still been done one day, right?
Say it again.
Even if he hadn't done what he did today by resigning, it would still be done one day, right?
Absolutely. He was just postponing the evil days, as we often will say.
Oh my God. So I mean, so everything that happened just smooth and no issues at all in the House.
No, there's no issue there. I don't know. I mean, like I was speaking with the chairman of the Nigerian Law Reforms Commission a few weeks ago on radio. We both agreed that what happened in the Plaza House of Assembly is a case study for political scientists. You know, that you have a governor who is in the PDP, and then you have a house dominated in the majority by the APC, but yet you have a speaker of the house
from the YPP,
who is just a member from one party.
one man standing.
For 2 years. Yes, for 2 years. It's been. We need to speak to the governor to find out how he was able to manage.
How did they do that? It's still magical. It's magical. How does that happen in Nigerian politics? One man standing and you are the speaker.
Yes. So, I mean, that's why I said it's something for us to study. Maybe after now, when the dust settles, we'll be able to reach out to the speaker himself and then some members of the House who may maybe want to speak to us to find out how they were able to, I mean, sustain the House without. You rarely hear them fight. You rarely hear them raising their voice. You rarely hear any issue from that Plateau House of Assembly up until today.
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm highly interested in it. How they did it. In fact, I think I have to take a trip to Jos to find out these things also. Because we know how Nigerian politicians play their game. One man standing and the only person. Okay, thank you so much for that. Let's move away from Jos now. Let me take it to national politics. I mean, we all heard what happened last night, where the ADC was adopted as a coalition party for those who they call them disgruntled elements, as Daniel Bwala called them, disgruntled elements who want to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. Now, barely 24 hours that happened, we understand that there are now dissenting voices as well from the ADC, where a faction is now saying, look, you guys didn't consult us, so this your coalition will not work. As we speak right now, there are two sides to the stories in the ADC. What do you make of all of
politics is done? Politics is done in this country. That most times these politicians are more concerned and are more prepared for the next election rather than preparing for the next generation of Nigerians and people. It's really quite unfortunate that, I mean, this is all about election. So if you succeed in removing the incumbent president, so what? What are your ideologies? Why is the ADC coming together? What are they pushing? What is the mantra they are coming with that is different from whatever we've known before? You look at all of these guys. These are people who are already spent. They are in their 60s. They are in their 70s. Some are approaching their 80s. So you begin to ask yourself, I mean, really, what do they have to offer? Which young Nigerian is part of this ADC coalition? Big question. Most of them are people who have enjoyed the largesse of Nigeria. to where they are. Some of them occupy public offices for upward of 20 years, 25 years. And then you begin to ask yourself, are coming together to do what? Are they really people-centric or they are self-centric? That's the question we should be asking. I'm not too excited. I'm not excited about the ADC. Neither am I excited about the PDP or even about the APC. I'm really, the whole place is I mean, it's unfortunate for the ordinary Nigerians who prefer, to have, good governance, expect to see that they get value for those they've given the mandate to provide leadership for the country.
Man, is what you said now is what we're right-thinking Nigerians like us have been saying, because we're in 2025. Just yesterday, we finished the first half of 2025, moving to the second half of 2025. Yet, politicians, what they talk about now is 2027. Where you pick up dailies every day,
where ordinary masses.
Exactly.
If you just take a look at what's going to happen, maybe at the end of the press conference today. I mean, right now as we speak, they are the Musa Yar'Adua doing the unveiling now. I'm sure that by the time this call is over, they should have been done with the unveiling. Now you're telling me that they are dissenting voices and all that. Just check out the content of those press conferences. Check out the content of the press conferences of the PDP after they finished, their so-called next meeting that got them together and all of that. Was there anything that concerned the Nigerian people in those statements? Is there anything that showed that said, okay, look, because of where we are now, because our education is at this point, we expect that at this point our health system, which is completely, we look at the purchasing power of Nigerians, we are concerned that a Nigerian who earns 80,000 naira may not be able to pay for his electricity bill, pay for his water bill, pay for his gas, pay for his transportation. We are concerned that Nigerians like that, a lot of people are there, they are not eating well. We don't hear all of that. What we're concerned about is that Tinubu is not doing well. Tinubu must go. Tinubu must go. I mean, it's sad. So to answer your question, I don't think that there's anything people
can't do anything. I mean, because does it mean that we just take whatever they bring to our front, to our table, whatever they present to us, we take hook, line, and sinker? What is the way out? What is the way forward in all of this? Because they say in Nigeria, we only just discuss, but solutions we do not have. What's the solution to all of these things bedeviling us?
Well, the solution is that we must, and as I often say, I mean, we are not sufficiently tired yet. We are not sufficiently angry yet.
Really?
We are not sufficiently, yes, we are not sufficiently, because if we come to the end for that, okay, man, there's nothing to give again. There's nothing, then you can hear all of us talking with one voice. We are so angry enough, we are so provoked, we are so let down, all of us, when we are so like, no, there's nothing else to do, there's nothing else, nowhere else to go, then we can all come together and say, okay, look, this man cannot be our local government chairman. This man cannot be our National Assembly. This man cannot be our president. And then it will happen. That change will not come. But when you are in the southwest there, you go to and say, it is only his Yoruba turn. So whether the Yoruba man is the best man in the world or the worst man in the world, you guys in the southwest will decide and say, okay, look, the Yorubas must win. I look at what the discussion is now. The North are saying, no, we must. So if an article comes up now, for instance, just giving an incident, and because you see the North will gravitate. We are not sufficiently tired yet. We are still enjoying the things that the way these guys have structured it. Don't forget what I told you. Among all of these people in the ADC right now, as we speak, in the PDP, in the current time that we're speaking, in the last 2 weeks, have you seen any young person who truly has been affected by the society, affected in one way or the other, that needs a better life, that is out there talking, is out there saying, okay, look, this way, that is galvanizing the younger people, galvanizing the people who are the artisans, the mechanics, galvanizing, the carpenters, galvanizing the butchers in the abattoirs. Anybody? So in talking about your solution, Mr. Pretty, is that, look, if
Hello.
As association
Okay. Hello. Are you there?
of Nigeria come together. I'm
Okay.
sure a lot of them are listening to Melody FM right now.
Definitely.
If those of them who are carpenters, if Nolke come together,
Mhm.
if Nawad come together and say, okay, look, we will not accept anything. This is the standard of the person who wants to be our governor. This is the standard of the person who wants to be our president. If you don't fall out, we will not vote you. And everybody coalesce together, then you can be. They will listen to us.
Mm. Mm.
Now the conversation is happening among the politicians and not amongst the masses. The masses are not even giving you the opportunity to talk. So how do you even, so it's quite an unfortunate situation.
Is it not about money talks? The masses don't have money, so they have the money. They are the ones doing all
That's
the talking.
But they have citizen power.
Mm. Do they
Britain,
know?
They have citizen power.
Do the citizens know the power they have? Do they even know the power that term they carry have?
That's the way we are wired. So sadly and so unfortunately.
Chai. Now, before I begin to let you go, I know you are a very busy person. Now, some people say why we have found ourselves where we have found ourselves is the Constitution. Do you agree that our problem is actually in our Constitution?
I don't totally agree that our problem is the Constitution. I think our problem has always been those who manage the Constitution.
Okay.
Those who have sworn to protect the tenets of the Constitution. If from the first schedule of the Constitution, you say, look, you swore an oath that you are going to, your first thing is to protect the lives and property of the Nigerian citizens, security and all that. And you don't do that. It's already there in the Constitution now.
Exactly.
So why are we now subjected to many of these attacks and all that? So I don't necessarily think it's about the Constitution. I think it's the managers of the Constitution, and then of course basically how we also approach the rule of law. Because if those who maybe in the judiciary can manage and provide justice that is seen and it is perceived to be done, and then the executive protects the tenets of what they swore to, I can tell you that hey, it's going to be a smooth sail, a better place for all of us.
Yeah, I hope that will happen one of these days. I will continue this conversation because it's something that we must begin. All of us, especially those of us who have the voices via our different platforms, we must be able to let the citizens know the power they have, as you and I have agreed now that they don't really know the power they have. But before I let you go, Samson, the last time we spoke, it was all about insecurity in Jos. How is Jos now? I hope not just Jos, even the Plateau generally. What's the security situation like? I know Benue is where the problem now lies. What about Plateau?
Pretty. I keep telling you, when you situate and do this mapping, do it well. There's no insecurity in Jos. Let me correct that.
In Benue State recently. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think, once you're talking about Plateau, what comes to mind first is Jos. So don't mind us when we call it Jos.
I know. It's not just you. I'm just talking about generally the way we are wired.
Exactly.
You can imagine that when it happened in Benue State, nobody was saying Makurdi on fire, Makurdi bloodbath.
Yeah.
But it was just barely, that way it happened, I know it very well. It's barely 30 minutes away from Makurdi, the state capital.
Imagine.
But hardly you hear anybody talk about Makurdi. All they were saying is Yelwata. And I'm hoping also, and this is what I try to do deliberately, even as a journalist and all that, and even editors should help the situation by their framing of this situation. Frame it in such a way that it connotes that, because again, it's also bad advertisement for the state, I must tell you.
Definitely. Because most times what you see on the front pages of newspaper is Jos massacre when it was happening. Whereas, as you said, nothing like that had happened in Jos in the last 10 years. Maybe because Jos is the most popular in Plateau State. All right. Wow, Samson Omale. Yeah. I mean, award-winning journalist, and of course, this man is out of his very busy schedule. I had to just cut him out this beautiful evening. Thank you so much, Samson Omale, for bringing your voice on the radio, Melody 100.7 FM in the city of Ibadan.
All right. Enjoy your day, man, and thanks for having me.
I appreciate you, my brother. All right. Okay, that's the way it's been on the show with our live feed all the way from Plateau State this beautiful evening. We do so much appreciate man Samson Omale. Yeah, trying to connect with my man right there live at the Musa Yar'Adua Cultural Center to know what is happening concerning the ADC and their new unveiling. Okay, it's not connecting. You know, noise. There's so much noise in the. You heard what I played for you earlier. There's so much noise at that venue, but don't worry. We'll have enough time to talk about it. We might do that tomorrow morning on the People's Assembly. But you heard what Samson said on the show. Do you know your power? As an electorate, as a masses, as a member of the masses, do you know your power? Do you know you carry so much power? That is why they always come for you every election time, because they know you carry enough power. But you don't know your power. You prefer to sell your power for a Congo of rice. You sell your power for half Congo of beans. You sell your power for 1,000 naira, 5,000 naira in some cases. We should begin to know that we have power. Very, very, very soon, when we get to that time when election will begin to, campaigns will start for elections, we'll be bringing different people to this place. I'll be asking them strong questions. Trust me. I am not one of those journalists that will see a governor or a House of Rep member or a senator and I begin to sugarcoat questions when I see you. No. People that know me very well. I'm not bragging about it. In the words of Orji Uzor Kalu is one of the trickiest politicians you can ever interview because he's a very sharp man. In his word, he said, this one, if you're not brave enough, you cannot confront the finest in a political interview. So we'll be bringing them when the time comes. We will not be coming here to come and be, Your Excellency, sir, Your Excellency, sir, Your Excellency. No. We are not disrespecting them. Well, we'll ask them what the people want to hear, not what they want to hear. We don't mind if they get angry with some of us, but we'll do our job the way it should be done. I've been seeing your calls earlier, yes, when I was on with Samson as Omale. You know, one thing is, I always like to make this show, what you will love. Even if we don't get to call every time. But one thing is this, whether it's ADC, APC, PDP, or PDAC, whatever it is, you should be able to know the people who really talk about the masses. Just as Samson said now, all the unveiling ADC, all the neck meeting of the PDP, even all the talks of the APC, the ruling party, how many times do you hear the poor masses being considered and being deliberated upon? It's all about us. We want to unseat Tinubu in 2027. That has been the agenda. And that has been the noise all around. Is that the way we should be moving on as a nation? Let's begin to ask ourselves all these critical questions, because as a nation, if we want to move from where we are to a whole new level, it begins with you and I. Just as Samson Omale said, it's not about the politicians and the constitution. Sometimes it's about the people who are the custodians of the constitution. Because we always shout, it is the constitution that has made us to be where we are. But he said, it's not about the constitution. It's about those who are managing the constitution. They are not managing it well. After all, in the constitution doesn't say when there are killings in Nigeria, there are insecurity, the president should travel out of Nigeria and go and stay in one small country called St. Lucia that is not even up to bear anybody. Just there lounging with them, balling with them, as we say in local parlance. The president balling at St. Lucia. Why? We have things that are making the masses unhappy here. The president is right there, St. Lucia, receiving National Honor Award in the midst of killings, hunger, starvation in the land. Is that the way it should be? Did the Constitution write that? So it is about the managers of the Constitution, as Samson Omale said. We should begin to think and rethink. We should begin to do the right thing. Let's use our brain. God in heaven has given us brains for usage. He did not give us brain to just sit down idly and be watching. And you pray to God every time. That is why God looks like he's not answering our prayers anymore. It's not that God is wicked. God answers prayer. Pastor Daniel will agree with me that God answers prayer. But God will say, these Nigerians, I gave them brain. They are not using it. Let me fold my hands and watch how they will do this thing this time. So think about all of these things. Because for Nigeria to be greater, to be better, and to be a country that we all can be proud of, it begins with you. It begins with all of us. It begins with you, me, and everyone. Thank you so much for being part of today's Politics on Melody. It returns next Wednesday, 4 p.m. We do this every Wednesday. Daniel Adeyemi is man in the console on the studios. And of course, Oyewole Adetoro. Samson taking care of the engineering section. Marcus M. Black is the one taking care of everything you see on Facebook. Everything so clean, so nice. Is the work of Marcus M. Black. Follow us on all socials, Melody 107 FM. Melody 107 FM on all socials. And like us, share us, and drop your comment every time you hear us do what we do right here. My name is Pretty. You call me the finest. Let me rest now for an hour. I'll be back at 6 with my crew as we take you on the cruise for this beautiful Wednesday. Good evening. Stay there. Don't move a muscle. Keep your head up.